Hey guys, Dylan Allen here from Allen Endurance Coaching. Training vlog. We got a race in this past week, and I'm fairly happy with how it went. Alright, so first things first, total volume last week, complete crap. But I'm okay with that because it was race week. The weekend before the week started, until last weekend, we went camping in Arkansas or Oklahoma at Broken Bow. It was really hot that Friday night. You can see that in last week's training vlog. And quite frankly, it really sapped me for a couple of days. So it was first beginning of the week. I was just still recovering from the heat from camping. I think that 6 mile run on the hills really took it out of me. But we rolled into Wednesday morning for the 5 a.m. track workout, and I wasn't planning on doing a hard workout, but I wanted to kind of do just some quick 200s. I think I did 6 of them, and just kind of get the legs turning over, see how it felt, and make sure everything was okay for the next day. So obviously, with the race being on Thursday, we weren't going to try to go kill it on the day beforehand. But the guys got out there. It was great. I had some training partners to kind of make sure we were kind of right in the same, trying to hit the mark on. It was more of a pacing workout than true speed. So we're trying to hit them at about well, we started with the intention of trying to hit them at 5:20 pace, because I definitely knew I wasn't going to be going faster than that at the race, or shouldn't be going faster than that at the race, except for maybe on the finish. And so it was really, the goal was to try to figure out the pacing. And we went a little quick. We went through most of them kind of right at about 37. The second to last one, I think we hit like 39. But then the last one, we turned around and hit a 36. And granted, we were getting plenty of recovery on these. We'd run the 200, and then we'd essentially walk the 200 before starting the next one. So it's not like we were really stressing a ton. I will say the first couple, the left hamstring and hip felt a little tight. But once I was fully warmed up and rolling, it felt fine. So I think it was more of an issue of just, it takes me a while to warm up. So then we roll into the next day with the intention of getting a decent warm-up in ahead of time. But race day morning weather conditions were disgusting. It was 80 degrees, like 100% humidity. We actually had a thunderstorm roll in about 15, 20 minutes after my wife finished walking it. So, about an hour after I finished or so. So it was like the perfect mix of that temperature rising really fast and then really oppressive humidity. Luckily, we had cloud cover, so that wasn't too bad. But it was just so hot and humid that I could tell core temperature was going to be the limiting factor, not necessarily the neuromuscular fitness, getting the legs turned over. And I only ended up doing about an easy mile warming up, and I didn't get to do any striders this year. Kind of getting crammed in behind the start line, and then we're like, all right, so it's time to go. So I didn't do the striders like I had planned on. And then we ended up standing there, in our start, ready to go, hands on watches, for a whole pump music song after the anthem had been sung, and we're like, all right, any second now, it's gonna go. 3 minutes later, no gun. And we're like, all right, song gets over, and we're like, all right, so we're going to be going now. And they made an announcement that they had somebody's bib at the timing tag. Like, seriously? And so they started another pump song, and we're like, all right, we're going to go. And we get about a minute and a half into it, and we're like, no, they're not going. So the start was delayed a decent amount. And I don't know if they were having some technical issues or what. But there wasn't any warning when the fireworks went off, which is the start. It was the fireworks going boom. Needless to say, we were cold, like neuromuscularly cold. We weren't warmed up. We were plenty hot. But our heart rates were all low by this point. And it's actually kind of funny when the fireworks went off, the entire like front 5 rows of people all jumped because we were just not expecting it. There's no, all right, here we go, get ready, bang. No, it's like people were staying around talking. All of a sudden, the fireworks went off. So everybody jumped. Someone landed on my toe. It didn't hurt, but it was just, we were completely unprepared for it. And so luckily, I didn't rabbit quite as much as I was afraid I was going to under those situations once I got going. You know, I intentionally kind of reined it in a little bit so it wouldn't happen. Because last year I did rabbit, and there's not a ton of elevation on this course, but it is generally uphill on the front half and generally downhill on the back half. And I remember the hills catching up with me last year. So I was a little conservative out of the gate. There wasn't really a lead pack to try to latch onto immediately, which I hadn't thought about doing, just grabbing on and seeing how long I could hold it. But we, so it was a little strung out almost from the beginning, but it kind of makes sense because the guy who won ran a 14:25, smashed the course record. It's a big payday for him. But he, I think because the lead runner was so fast, it really separated out the front pack within like first quarter mile, half mile. It wasn't grouped up at all. And so there wasn't a pack to hang on to. So everybody was essentially time trialing, running their own race. And so, all right. So here's the race. It shows a little short. I'm fairly confident, though. It's a legit course. I have a feeling my watch is just off. I don't really... You can see the course. You know, it's essentially a big lollipop. And it's uphill and then generally downhill. And my heart rate, you notice, like, didn't seem to go super high, but that I think that's my watch just wasn't reading my heart rate on the downhill side. There's no way my heart rate was at 109. But my stride rate was fairly decent, you know, 172. I'll take it. You know, pushing 180 a little bit for some of it, but that's, you know, pretty normal for me for a 5K. Obviously, with the distance being a little off, I know the splits here weren't quite accurate because I know I remember looking at the clock going by the mile mark and 2 mile mark, and at the mile mark it was 5:40, and at the 2 mile mark it was exactly 11:20, which meant I was right at 5:40 pace for the course. You know, assuming they were measured correctly, which I have more faith in their measuring of it than my watch. That's kind of how it was. We ended up getting 7th overall, which even though we were about 10-15 seconds slower than last year, it was 2 places better. And I know there were a couple of guys, like it wasn't the same group of guys in the top 10, I don't think, compared to last year. So it's, you know, kind of give or take it. But I'm going to attribute the running slower mostly to the weather conditions, because I don't think the start last year was super well organized either. I did get to get some striders in last year though, and so that may have helped a little bit, even though I went out a little fast last year. Yeah, race execution I'm pretty happy with this year. It was nice even splits at, you know, 5:40 and then 11:20 and then 7:17 coming across the finish line. Obviously, like that last mile was rough, even though it was downhill. You know, going from 2 to 2.5. There's a little bit of an uphill there. And this section through here was work. It was not fun at all. Once I got to about 2.5 miles, I was definitely checking the watch, being like, all right, are we there yet? Are we there yet? It was definitely, because there wasn't anybody really in front of me to chase, not close enough to really race anyway. And there wasn't anybody coming up fast behind me that I knew of that was close enough to really get me running scared. So, I mean, at that point, I wasn't passing anybody. I wasn't going to have anybody passing me. It was purely time trialing. And I could feel the lactate, you know, like that lactate dead arm feeling as we're kind of, you know, the acidosis was sinking in. It was not comfortable. It was a mental struggle. I was super hot. I'm not a hot weather racer, and I don't like racing in the heat. It was pretty miserable, but I was able to kind of kick myself into gear and get going, obviously. So yeah, overall, I was pretty happy with the execution of the race. You know, the splits were even and consistent, which is, you know, what you're looking for racing 5Ks. I mean, obviously the weather could have been a little better. After running the math on it, I think if you account for the weather, if it had been like actual decent weather conditions, it would have been the equivalent of like a 16:45 to a 16:50, which is way faster. Theoretically, the weather conditions slowed me down by almost 11 seconds a mile, which is a lot. Yeah, I think I executed the race well on race day, given the race conditions and whatnot. I think in terms of training for it, gave me what we were looking for. We're able to kind of get an analysis of my baseline fitness, kind of where I'm at right now, after doing like kind of the general easy getting back into stuff with just a little bit of speed work and easy miles. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I do think that I'm probably not going to run. I'm not expecting to run awesome 5Ks in the heat. I'm never going to run awesome 5Ks in the heat, especially the humid heat that we have around here. One of the things I need to be careful of in the summer, given how much a toll the heat and humidity takes on me, is the recovery from it is more time-wise than it would be for a normal 5K for me. It's just getting my core temperature that high just cooks me. Kind of the next big race we'll have will be Chili Pepper in October, and October 5th. That's Chili Pepper Cross Country Festival in Fayetteville, Arkansas. We're coming for you. It's going to be fun. It's another great race with lots of fast people to pull you along. It's flat, it's fast, not on roads, but it is really fast. In terms of training, what do we need to do to get there to be able to run that optimal 5K? I think we definitely need to start doing some actual interval training. We got the leg speed to turnover is there. That didn't seem to be the limiting factor per se for this race. If I could get higher, I'd like it, but I think the limiting factor is really being able to buffer the blood pH and being able to work at that 5K intensity for longer. So we're going to be spending some time doing some VO2 max work. We're going to spend some time getting miserable, because that's what it's going to take for me to be able to run fast 5Ks. We'll probably also start folding in some threshold work. The real point of this kind of race is it's not really a race. We're just taking advantage of a race environment to get some good data, and I think we got it, so we can move forward. So I'm not 100% sure yet on what we're going to be doing, but I'm pretty sure it's going to involve some intervals. We'll probably be doing some 400s, some 800s, maybe some 1K intervals. Fairly hard. We'll probably be starting to cut some of that recovery time out a little bit on the speed session days. We'll see how that goes. Got to be safe with it in the summer with the heat and humidity. Even though we're doing them 5 o'clock in the morning when it's dark, it's really humid. So you still got to be safe. The other thing we'll be doing is folding in some threshold pace work and maybe some just marathon pace work. Probably still going to stick to the 2 workouts a week, including the long run as one of our quality runs. Because long term in the bigger picture, that is, that's one of the things we really need to be focusing on. If the goal long term is to run fast half marathons and ultras, and the 5K is just a stepping stone to get there, then we need to make sure we're keeping those we need to get the long runs back up. And we need to make sure we're using those threshold paces to get the lactate threshold up. We need to make sure we're doing the marathon pace work. So we still have those gears and we don't have to go back and find them again later. So I think that's the plan. Short term, interval work, threshold work in on our long runs. Long term, we're going to continue raising that base volume for a little bit. We're not going to get too crazy with the high intensity stuff until it starts cooling down a little bit this summer. But we'll probably start getting comfortable with those higher speeds, and stretching them a little bit duration-wise. As I think that's what we need to do to run fast 5Ks. So stay tuned, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, share this with your friends and your family, anybody you think would like it. If there's something you want to hear about, something in particular you want help with your training, drop me a line. You can either leave me a comment or message me here, or get in touch with us on Facebook or the webpage. You can email me. I'm always open for helping people. So don't be afraid. Don't stay away. Till next time, train smart.